Wish I could tell you this story started as a joke, that it was just another harmless birthday surprise. But the moment that door opened, and a drag queen walked in smiling like she already knew my deepest secret, something inside me stopped breathing. Because the truth is, I had spent years pretending this part of me didn't exist. Years hiding. Years lying. Even to myself. And that night, in front of the people who thought they knew me best, I was about to face the one thing I was most afraid of. Not their laughter. Not their judgment. But the terrifying possibility that this might be the first moment in my life where I finally felt real. And once that feeling starts, there's no going back. I didn't always know something inside me was different. For most of my life I was just quiet. The kind of person who stayed in the background, laughed at the right moments, and never gave anyone a reason to look too closely. But secrets don't usually start as secrets. Sometimes they begin as tiny, almost invisible feelings, the kind you can ignore if you try hard enough. I remember being a kid and noticing small things I couldn't explain. How certain fabrics looked softer, how confidence seemed to move differently in women than in men, how I felt this strange curiosity that had no words attached to it. Nothing dramatic. Nothing obvious. Just questions. I kept pushing away. So I did what most people do when something scares them. I buried it. Focused on school, work, friendships, anything that made me feel normal. And for a while that worked. Or at least, I convinced myself it did. But the truth about hiding parts of yourself is simple. They don't disappear. They wait. Quietly. Patiently. Waiting for one moment, one crack in the wall, when everything you've tried not to feel finally comes rushing out at once. And without realizing it, my birthday was about to become that moment. Have you ever felt like something inside you was just waiting for the right second to be seen? My friends kept smiling at me that night. But it wasn't the normal kind of smile. You know, the one when people are hiding a surprise and they're trying way too hard to act casual. At first I thought maybe it was just a cake. Or some stupid prank video they wanted to film. That would have been normal. Safe. Easy to laugh off. But there was this tension in the room I couldn't explain. Like everyone knew something except me. And the longer it lasted, the louder my heartbeat became. Because deep down, some quiet instinct kept whispering the same terrifying thought. What if this isn't just a joke? Then suddenly the music stopped. Not faded out, stopped. The room went so quiet I could actually hear my own breathing. Someone turned off the main lights, leaving only the soft glow from the hallway. And before I even had time to ask what was happening, the front door opened. Slowly. Deliberately. Like the moment itself wanted to be remembered. That's when I saw her. Tall. Confident. Completely unapologetic. A drag queen standing in my doorway looking straight at me. Not confused, not surprised. But like she already understood something I had spent my whole life trying to hide. Nobody laughed. Nobody spoke. All I could feel was this sudden, overwhelming heat in my chest. A mix of fear, embarrassment, and something far more dangerous. Recognition. And in that silent second, before anyone explained anything, one terrifying realization hit me harder than anything else. This night wasn't about a party. It was about me. And I had absolutely no idea what was about to happen next. For a few seconds nobody moved. It felt like the entire room was holding its breath, waiting to see what I would do. And the truth? I didn't know. Part of me wanted to laugh it off. Make a joke. Pretend I didn't understand what this meant. Because if this was really happening, if my friends had somehow seen through all the walls I'd spent years building, then everything safe and familiar in my life was about to change. My best friend was the first one to step forward. He had this careful expression on his face, like he was trying not to scare a wild animal. "Hey," he said softly. "Just trust us, okay?" Those 4 words should have been comforting. But instead they made my stomach drop. Because people only say trust us when they're about to take you somewhere you can't control. I looked past him back at her. Up close she didn't feel intimidating. Not like I expected. Her eyes were calm. Kind even. Like she wasn't here to expose me. She was here because she already understood. And somehow that scared me even more. "Only if you want," she said gently. "No pressure. No pressure." I almost laughed at that. Because the pressure inside my chest was so intense it felt hard to breathe. In that moment 1,000 thoughts crashed into each other. What if they're judging me? What if this ruins everything? What if I like it too much? That last thought, that was the one I was truly afraid of. Because liking it would mean this wasn't just curiosity. It would mean this part of me was real. And once something becomes real, you can't pretend it doesn't exist anymore. The room stayed silent, all eyes still on me, waiting for an answer I didn't feel ready to give. But sometimes, life doesn't wait for you to be ready. Slowly, almost without realizing it, I nodded. And the moment I did, I felt it like an invisible door inside my life quietly opening for the very first time. I just didn't know yet what was waiting on the other side. The moment I nodded, something shifted in the room. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a quiet change in the air. Like everyone could finally breathe again. My best friend smiled, but it wasn't teasing. It was relieved. And that confused me more than anything else. Because this whole time I thought the only person fighting this secret was me. She stepped a little closer then. Close enough that I could see the tiny details in her makeup. The precision, the care, the confidence I couldn't even imagine feeling in my own skin. "Come with me," she said softly. No spotlight. No performance. Just calm certainty. And somehow that made it impossible to refuse. Each step toward my bedroom felt heavier than the last, like I was walking away from the person everyone thought I was supposed to be. I kept wondering, if I cross this line, can I ever go back? Behind us, the door closed quietly. The music outside became distant, muffled, like the rest of the world was slowly fading away. Now it was just the two of us. And the sound of my heartbeat pounding so hard I was sure she could hear it. She didn't rush, didn't joke, didn't treat it like a game. Instead, she looked at me the way no one ever had before. Not trying to figure me out. Not trying to change me. Just seeing me. And in a voice so gentle it almost hurt to hear, she asked one simple question. "Are you scared? Or are you finally ready?" I opened my mouth to answer, but nothing came out. Because the truth was, I didn't know the difference anymore. I stood there in silence after she asked that question. Are you scared? Or are you finally ready? And the truth was, I was both. Terrified of what this meant. Terrified of what people might think. Terrified that if I stepped forward, there would be no way to return to the version of me everyone already understood. But beneath all that fear, there was something quieter. Something honest. Relief. Because for the first time in my life, I wasn't running away from myself. I didn't give a big speech. Didn't suddenly become brave. I just whispered the only truth I could find in that moment. I don't want to hide anymore. She smiled, soft, proud, like she'd been waiting to hear that. And everything that followed, the makeup, the clothes, the mirror, the reactions, the emotions, none of it was really about transformation on the outside. It was about permission. Permission to exist honestly. Permission to feel curiosity instead of shame. Permission to discover who I might become if fear stopped making my decisions. That night didn't magically solve my life. I didn't wake up fearless the next morning. I'm still learning, still questioning, still growing. But something important changed. For the first time, the person I saw in the mirror didn't feel like a stranger I had to escape. They felt like someone I was finally ready to understand. And if you're listening to this right now, hiding a piece of yourself, pretending you're okay, telling yourself it's safer to stay silent, I want you to hear this. You are not broken. You are not alone. And the parts of you you're most afraid to face might be the very parts that lead you to freedom. Because acceptance doesn't begin when the world understands you. It begins the quiet moment you stop running and choose to understand yourself. So wherever you are in your journey, take one honest step. Just one. That's how mine started too. And maybe this isn't the end of the story. Maybe it's only the beginning.